welcome to another episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups. On this episode, we're working on a Mazda. We have a dent in the front of the quarter panel here we're going to be repairing, or at least attempting to. But before we start, let's give it a quick wash. Alright, so now we've finished cleaning the car. It's time to jack it up, put a stand under it, and then take the wheel off, and then we'll start the repair. Turn. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now that the car is supported with a jack stand, it's time to take off the wheel and remove the wheel arch trim. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is... Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is remove this wheel arch trim so we can get access to the inside of the quarter panel where the dent is. Alright, so in order to get the trim off, what we're going to be doing is removing these screws. Now, they are just a Phillips head, but they do just pull out quite easily. Now, although this is not the right tool for this, it'll still come out, but with an 8mm socket or a spanner, you could easily get this out as well. Now, this trim is actually a two-part trim. So the bottom starts here, and it goes all the way up to this seam up the top here, as you can see. So we can just remove this screw here and that one over there, and we can just pull it back far enough to be able to get access to it. So now we got all the trim clips out, we're just going to bend it out from away from the back of the guard, and then the trim will come straight out. Now, a couple of you out there are probably panel beaters or guys that actually know what they're doing. Because I'm a mechanic, I'm going to do this a way that I feel is going to be the best. All I'm going to be doing is not using any tools, but just hand force. So all I'm going to be doing is pushing from the inside of the dent outwards. So now that we've got the trim off, I'm just going to stick my hand up in here, give it a bit of a love tap with a bit of a push, and it should come straight out. There we go. Terrific. Now, as you can see, it's still got a bit of a crease there, but it is a lot better than what it was before. Now, the way in which you would fix the rest of this is you would sand it back, you'd get a bit of filler, and then you'd reshape it. My wife was only concerned about the dent that was in there originally. Because it is significantly better, I'm sure she'd be happy. And if not, does someone else have a place for me to stay? Now, because it does have a couple of light scratches here and here, as well as here and up the top, and it has rubbed back to metal. So to prevent that from rusting, we can just get a little bit of touch-up paint from my local auto parts store once they reopen, and we can touch it up. Make sure that when you refit wheel arch trims that it goes actually behind the back of the quarter panel. That way it'll actually keep in place and won't come out, especially when you're at high speeds. Don't forget to renew your trim clips if they're broken. These are quite easily to be accessed via any auto parts store, or you can even buy them online. Now, I did forget to mention how to reset these trim clips. So it's quite easy to do. Most of them just pull straight out. With this one, for instance, it does have a Phillips head bit at the top. So all we do is just put a screwdriver in there and just twist it 90 degrees and it will come straight out. Once it's removed, you can then push it back in and then reset it. Okay, now that it's refitted, it's time to put the wheel back on, give it a bit of tire shine, and we can send it. Now, don't forget that when you are loosening or tightening something, mechanical advantage can work in your favor. If you are loosening something, the longer the bar is or the pole, the easier it's going to be to loosen. Whereas if we're tightening up something, we want to make sure that we're not applying too much torque or pressure to the bolt, because it's going to cause it to snap or over tighten. Now, because it's a wheel nut and this is 3 foot long, we're going to be holding the bar in the middle. That way it's going to give us 50% of the amount of torque this bar can actually obtain. So holding it here, we're not going to be able to apply as much force as what we would be able to holding it at the back. Now remember, it's easier to push than what it is to pull. If you push, at least you can do it with an open hand. That way, if you slip and you hit the ground, you're not going to hurt yourself. Whereas if you're trying to pull and you slip, you're going to be able to hit yourself and likely your face. So there we have it, it's all done. Like always, guys, thanks heaps for watching. Stay COVID safe. Hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments in the section below for things that you want to see me do. If there's anything in particular, let me know in the comment section below. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Once again, stay COVID safe, and we'll see you next time on an episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups, all things DIY and mechanical.